Hey y'all, Happy New Year. Welcome to Mystic Hand Tarot's 2022 6-month forecast. I am Rachel Moon, and today I will be pulling cards from the Female Mystique Tarot for the messages on what is coming in and what is leaving for each month. And I'll also be pulling a card from the Mystical Lenormand Oracle for what we need to do to nurture ourselves through that time. And I will be pulling an Archangel for the year and to see what Archangel wants to work with us for the first 6 months of 2022. And also a card from the Our Tarot to see what feminine goddess from our historical past wants to inspire us for the first 6 months of this year. So thank you all for joining me. Before we get started, I would like to say I am considering opening back up my Patreon page and would be offering a monthly forecast similar to what we're doing here today. And that would be, for a monthly fee. So if you're interested in that, please email me and let me know that that would be something you would be wanting to invest in. Or, just inquire with me about what that would entail if you're not sure, but you want to know more. All right, let's get started. I have this new moon phase singing bowl that I would like to use just to kind of set the tone before we get started, kind of clear the air, get everything kind of ceremonial and delicious. So let's do that, and then we will shuffle the cards and get started. All right. Thank you. So, my guides and yours are here to assist us in this process. The best for all those involved and the highest good will be reflected in the cards. And I ask for truth to be spoken and guidance to be delivered for all those watching this video today. And so it is. All right, and this first card at the top of the deck is our card for January and what is coming in. We have this Star card coming up. And this is showing us that we need to invest more faith in what's happening in our lives. And this could be relying on a higher power. This could be moving into knowledge that you are strong and that you are able to persevere in whatever is going on around you. It could also just be having the faith that this year isn't going to be like previous years. Sometimes we get so kind of mired in our lives, we forget that every day is a new day. We don't have to do it the same way we did it yesterday. And sometimes, yes, we have to deal with grief, we have to deal with challenges, but it's going to be okay. And there are people around us that care about us. And even if we don't have people in our lives right now that we know we can trust and who will care for us, we have the ability within ourselves to strengthen ourselves and reach out and find strength with friendships, with our higher power, with something that is greater than ourselves. So, what is leaving in January? We have the Ace of Blades. So this could be some conflict that has started for you in the recent months, and this is leaving. This is also, the desire maybe to be judgmental or to start conflict yourself. Perhaps you're just becoming more peaceful as you're realizing there is this need to invest more deeply in something bigger than just you and the world right in front of you. And how can we nurture ourselves through this time? What does the Mystical Lenormand want to add to this conversation? We can nurture ourselves by remembering that our thoughts do not always consist of the truth. So this card here is reminding us that our minds have all this power. And our minds can be judgmental. Our minds can decide to stand in our way or sabotage us. And so we have to be vigilant about what we allow in. We don't have power over the first thought, but every thought after that first thought, we can talk to our ego and say, thank you. I'm not going down that road with you today. I'm not going to carry this thought forward. I'm not going to continue the conversation. And if you have to do it 15 times in an hour, do it. Because our minds can take us to places we don't want to go, right? So you can choose to have boundaries and not follow. Okay. So for February, what is coming in? We have the Hermit reversed. So this is stepping out into the world, getting to know others, spending time with others, even if it means, doing it on Zoom, doing it through a phone call, but getting out of your own head, your own space, your own energy, and welcoming the energy of others, as well as sharing your light, sharing your wisdom, sharing what you have to offer the world. So that's February, what's coming in. And what is leaving? The Sorceress. So this is the Magician in the traditional tarot. And this is that need to manipulate, that need to control, that need to make things happen, where you can just allow things to happen with this Hermit in the reverse. With the Hermit in the upright as well. The Hermit is not interested in forcing the issue or forcing a situation to occur. And the Sorceress could be someone who decides that they need to control things, that they need to manipulate things. And if we're looking at what's leaving, then that desire to have power over things that we're powerless to, or that we don't have the ability to control, is represented here. All right, and what can we do to nurture ourselves through February? We have the Road. So you're getting an opportunity to choose which way you want to go this month. And that makes a lot of sense with the Hermit reversed and the Sorceress in terms of what is coming in and what is leaving. Because you could go it alone. You could decide all you're going to do is take this solo walk into the future. But you could also follow that bird that is a friend, that is trying to help out, that is trying to guide you, that is trying to be a presence in your life. And that bird, again, it doesn't have to be a physical person. It could be a friend, it could be a loved one, it could be your partner, but it could also be a higher source, a spirit, an angel, something that is looking out for you, that is your internal compass. Your internal compass is connected with it. So following that which is higher than yourself, because if it's a bird, it is higher than you. You can't get up there. But you can listen, you can look, you can be attentive to what that energy is trying to tell you, what it is trying to pull you towards and move you towards. So you have a choice. Do you want to go down the road where you're trying to control and manipulate things, or do you want to go down the road where you're trusting and you're open and you're awake to the present moment? These are our options in February. All right. So for March, we have what is coming in. We have the Four of Trees reversed. Interesting that what is coming in has been reversed each time. This Four of Trees reversed, we are looking at perhaps what our mind is doing. Again, we've got maybe a little bit of chaos going on upstairs, and figuring out how to communicate in a way that is grounded and solid and based in our truth, but also respects the truth of other people. So this is a learning that is coming in, learning about communication, learning about how to manage the mind, learning about how to be grounded when you are speaking or thinking about challenging things. And what is leaving for March? We have the Death card. So we're losing some things this month, and that may be some internal things that we're needing to go, maybe some habits, maybe some beliefs, maybe some ideas that don't serve us. But it could also be that, relationships are leaving, and not because someone's going to die. That is not what this card is about. But it could be that people are moving out of your life, whether they are actually like moving away, or you're saying, I can't be in this relationship anymore, or they're saying that to you. This could be friendships, relationships on any level. So it doesn't have to be your partner, but it could be. So looking out for those ways that your life is changing and those things that are leaving. And this could be very blessed for you. It may not look that way at first, but ultimately when something is exiting, there's a reason for it, and it's making space for something new to come in. So relaxing into that energy of those things that are leaving, that are passing, that are going out, just like the tide goes out, it will come back in again. And it may not be in that same form, but something new is going to fill the place of what has left. All right, and what can we do to nurture ourselves through this time? Remember your power. We have the snake and the egg. So that egg there, that is a reminder of what you have within you that is a gift for the world, and that is your strength, that is your ability to connect, to ground, to be in your life, to be in your heart, to be in your world. And that snake is a protector of that power, but that snake also is a conveyance of that power. The snake is the Kundalini energy rising up the spine. The snake is our internal force that moves us forward, that propels us forward, that helps us to utilize that strength and that power that we have within us. And in an intelligent way. Again, not to force, not to make things happen, but to trust that we are being guided, that something bigger than us, and it could be that tree outside your window, it could be an energy. It doesn't have to be something religious, but it is something that is bigger than you, that has the ability to show you something bigger than what your mind is able to show you. Okay, so now we are looking at April. What do we have coming in for April? We have the Oracle, our first upright card. What's coming in? The ability to discern, the ability to connect with our spiritual selves, because the Oracle is the high priest. He is or she is the Hierophant in the traditional tarot, which is also high priest. So this is the active form of connection with the spiritual self. This is the spiritual self that says, I want ritual. I want to connect in a more meaningful way, which could be heading out to connect with others over something spiritual. And again, it doesn't have to be religious. It can be, let's have a meal together and let's be very intentional about what we talk about or what we're sharing. Doing things with intention is ritual. It doesn't have to be anything. You could be going out and playing disc golf, and that's your ritual. But you're doing it with the intention to connect with others. You're doing it with the intention to be outside and see the trees and breathe the air and enjoy your physical form. So living with intention, setting forth with intention, connecting with intention, and connecting with that spiritual part of the self. All right. And what is leaving us in April? The Lovers. So this could be some compulsion to draw someone in again and again and again. It could be that desire to have a relationship if you're single. And it doesn't mean that you have to say, I'm never going to have that. But maybe there's a compulsion there. Maybe it's not a healthy draw. Maybe it's a distraction. But this can also be about indecision and letting that indecision leave you, letting that desire to have all the answers leave you, and opening up to the possibility that you don't know everything, that not everything is always going to be clear. And that attachment to having something that you don't have now is leaving you as well in April. All right, and how can we nurture ourselves? We have the garden. I love this card because every time I see it, it reminds me of the Rumi quote, that which you are seeking is seeking you. Because we have this woman just on her way, loving life, being the most beautiful that she can be every day, and something is catching up to her. Something is on its way to her, but she isn't thinking about that. And that is how you manifest. You don't go about your day saying, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. It's like a broken record. You can't draw something to you if you're constantly looking for it. So how can we nurture ourselves? We can be in nature. We can be present with our lives. We can breathe. We can move through time and space with confidence and love for ourselves, doing our self-care. And lo and behold, all of a sudden we have those things in our lives that we want because we are at the vibrational level that we can draw those things in. We've become a vibrational match. All right. Now, for May, what is coming in for May? We have the Justice card reversed. So what is coming in? Perhaps we are experiencing some imbalance in a way that feels kind of epic. It feels like it's not in our control. So this could be imbalance on a level outside of our personal lives even. Something that we're seeing happen on the national scale, on the world scale, that is upsetting, not what we want to see, not what we want to hear, not what we like. And it could be a desire to control that, a desire to see it change. Ask yourself during this time, if we are seeing something like this in May, which we could, these cards give me what they give me, and there are lots of ways to interpret them. So someone else might see this justice reversed as something else. But if you're seeing something that is going on in your world that looks like injustice, ask yourself what you have the power to do to change it. Because there are things that we do have that power to change. And there are those things that are outside of our control. So what can you do in this very moment if you're perceiving injustice, if you're perceiving things going awry, if you're perceiving things outside yourself that you're saying, I want to see something different in the world. What can you do? Well, maybe you could write a letter. You could call someone. You could step up and take a stand for something. You could take action in a meaningful, intentional way. Not acting out, but moving towards something with intention. So just considering that, if there's injustice in your world, how do you change it? How do you have power to change it? And what is leaving during this time? The Chariot. Well, something is leaving pretty quickly if we've got the Chariot showing up here. And this could be a desire to have some victory, some force over something else, because the Chariot is victory. It is some success or some, power over something else. So when I'm seeing this as something to be leaving, something to be moving out of our lives and in this time, then it's that, we're shifting what our perspective is about success. We're shifting what our perspective is about having had an epiphany or an acknowledgement of change. It's, maybe you're coming to a place in your life during this time where you're realizing I'm successful and I don't have all the things I thought I wanted when I first set out to do the thing that I'm doing now. But I don't have to have an attachment to those things anymore because I know that I'm happy. And maybe that's a good definition of success for you. Redefining success, understanding what success means to you today, understanding what success might have been in the past. And also, there is an element here with, again, needing to control the trajectory of things or the way that things are going. Recognizing that, it is what it is. Things are going the way that they're going. And there are, again, things that I have power over and things that I have to step back and say, someone else is in charge of that. And that's not easy. I'm not sitting here saying, you know what, I've got it all figured out, because believe me, I do not. Not even a little bit. But, you know, every day we can practice, because it starts at home. And this is how we nurture ourselves through. It starts at home. It starts with you. It starts with you making those changes that you need to make, you stepping up to take a stand for those things that you know you have power over, those things that you know you can do to make a difference in the world, to make a difference in your life, to make a difference with your health, your relationship, your friendships, your family. Taking a step forward towards those things that you can do. You can plant a garden. You can talk to your neighbor. You can help a friend. You can care for stray animals. You can do something to make this world a better place. So don't give up hope. If you're seeing things that feel like injustice and the world feels like it's just rushing around you, what can you do? Get grounded. Figure out what you can do in your life to be the positive change that you want to see in the world. All right, and for June, what do we got? What do we have coming in? We have the Four of Discs reversed. So what's coming in? Release from material attachments. Release from insecurity. Release from the desire, again, to control. We have a lot going on here with having to just understand that there are things we don't have the ability to manipulate or to decide. And that's okay. So, you know, letting go of the attachment to having things all figured out, having things all tacked down, nailed down, solid, just rolling with the tide, going with the flow, being present with what's happening now, and letting that insecurity that you might feel sometimes just be. Because again, sometimes we don't even have control over our feelings. We can control the thoughts that might plow us into some depression or anxiety, but our bodies do what they do sometimes, and there are chemicals that influence us that we don't always have control over as well. So just being with what is and letting go of the attachments that may cause more anxiety. All right, and then we have what is leaving during this time. The Seven of Cups, illusion, and so Seven of Cups reversed, which is a release from the illusion, a release from that, again, that illusion that we're in control, that we have some ultimate power. We have power and we have the ability to control ourselves and our lives, but we don't have the power to change some bigger things, corporations and what they're doing. You know, we only have so much power. So again, we have to take those steps in our personal lives. I'm repeating myself. I know I am, but it's what these cards want us to know. And, you know, we can compress this all down into today, because every day, what do we have power over? What do we not have power over? But at this time in June, the illusion is lifting. We're seeing things more clearly. We're seeing things in terms of, oh, this is what's been going on this whole time. Oh, this is how this actually is. And it's okay. It may be an emotional time because the cup suit is emotional, and especially if we're looking at the cups in reverse, there may be some emotions that accompany actually getting the big reveal. But how can we nurture ourselves through? The sun will come out tomorrow. We got to remember that when it rains, the sun comes out again. When there is trouble, the light will again shine. Hold that light in your heart. Be that light in your world. You can make it through. You have the resources that you need. You have the support that you need. You have your feet on the earth. You will make it through whatever's going on in this time. So that's our 6 months. And lots of interesting stuff there. We've got a lot of elements that are coming into play around having to surrender. And in my opinion, and in many traditions, spiritual and mystical traditions, surrender is the most powerful position you can be in. Because at that point, what you're doing is you're saying, I can only control what I can control. I can only be present with what is right in front of me right now. And how can I work with that? So let us take a look at what Archangel wishes to work with us for the first 6 months of this year. And we will get a read on that. All right. Raphael. So Raphael is the healing angel. He has his little pot of medicine here, and he is offering you salve, solace, protection, guidance, healing. And this is for the collective. It is for the individual, but it is for the collective. And so when we see people suffering in our world, when we see injustice, when we see pain all around us, we can ask Archangel Raphael to come in and support us, support our movement forward into greater health, to greater balance, to greater equanimity, to greater love and patience and peace. Archangel Raphael wishes to help us, and you will get an email with this video which is showing you or offering you a prayer to petition him, and that will be in the email. So look for that. And what goddess from the Our Tarot wishes to connect with us, to guide us, to bring us some peace, to help us wrap up this reading for today? What beautiful goddess of historical significance wants to help us in 2022? Woo, these cards are a little tricky to shuffle because they are so new. All right. And here she is at the top of the deck. We have Jane Austen. And I'm going to have to grab my book because, of course, each one of these cards has a little backstory, and I'm not going to keep all that up here. Most of what I'm doing here, it comes from the ether. It does not come from book learning, so to speak. So this is a whole new ball game with these beautiful cards, and I love it. I love learning about these women because they hold so much wisdom for us. So what do we have for the Page of Swords, Jane Austen? Well, she was a novelist, we know that. Her readers were able to consider the very real life injustices that fictional heroines endured. Her novels deal with universal human dilemmas pertaining to love, money, societal expectations, and gender roles, which readers have found relevant for over 2 centuries. At the same time, her fictional narratives reflect the social restrictions of the early 19th century, and perhaps some of these themes are going to be coming up again, and that we can learn something from what Jane Austen has put out into the world. Let's see. Jane Austen's keen eye helped her create the thoughtful, witty, and accurate observations for which her novels are still celebrated. The Page of Swords represents insight about people and events around you. So you are using your mind, you're learning new things, you are being guided by this woman's brilliance, her ability to tap into something our collective consciousness has been connecting with for as long as those books have been in our world. So again, that theme of injustice is coming up, so we can look at how can we work with that. And, you know, it's not necessarily going to be an easy answer, but I believe in you, and I believe in the collective, and I believe that whatever we're facing in these coming months is something that when we tap into our personal power and our ability to use our logical mind and our hearts to make a difference, that we actually do make a difference. And there are people in this world, women in this book, and men that are not in this book because it's only about women, but people who, Martin Luther King, Coretta Scott, You know, the people that have stood up, made a difference, made themselves known. Greta Thunberg. We've got people in this world that want to help, that want to make a difference, that have made a difference. And you could be one of them. You really could. I believe in you. I believe in us. I believe in this world. I believe in love, first and foremost. And thank you for joining me today. I hope that everyone has a pleasant New Year's Day and entry into the new year. Thanks.